Hi, welcome to our daily encounter. Today we enter into the book of Esther. And the book of Esther is a wonderful book. It really shows the unseen hand of God at work providentially to really save the Jewish nation from utter destruction. And it begins with the story with Ahasuerus, who was a king over the land from India to Ethiopia, which included 127 provinces. And he has this banquet in which anyone who's anybody comes to attend. And there they're having a good old time. They're eating and drinking and enjoying all the riches of King Ahasuerus. Well, King Ahasuerus calls Queen Vashti to come so that she can display her beauty to the people and the princes because she was a very beautiful person. But it says that Queen Vashti refused to come at the king's command. And this very much upset Ahasuerus. And he gets with his council and says, okay, what should we do about this? And they basically say, well, we got to do something because if you don't do anything, all the women in the land are going to rebel against their husbands. And so they suggest that he gets rid of Queen Vashti and banishes her, and that's exactly what happens. Well, after a while he regrets that, and so they go to seek another queen for Ahasuerus. And Esther, who was a cousin to Mordecai, who becomes an important person in the story, ends up being picked to become the queen. Ahasuerus picks her himself. And another character comes onto the scene by the name of Haman, and he is exalted by King Ahasuerus. And this guy is obviously pretty full of himself. He very much enjoys people praising him. He loves being placed in high esteem. Well, Mordecai wouldn't bow down to him and would not pay homage to him. And this really burned Haman. And Haman, in retaliation, came up with this edict that he wanted the king to sign that would cause all the Jewish people, Mordecai's people, to be destroyed. And of course, at this point, the king doesn't know that Queen Esther is also a Jew. And he signs the edict. And so the whole nation of the Jewish people are at threat. A specific month and a specific day had been set that all the Jewish people would be destroyed. Well, Mordecai sends message to Esther to go talk to the king. And Queen Esther knows that no one can come and just appear before the king without being asked. If you went to the king without asking, you could be put to death unless he held out his scepter to you and accepted you. So she's afraid, but Mordecai encourages her. And one of the things that he says to her is this, and this is probably one of the most famous statements in this book. This is found in chapter 4 and verse 14. He says, "For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance will arise for the Jews from another place, and you and your father's house will perish. And who knows whether you have not attained royalty for such a time as this." So Mordecai is encouraging her to say, look, you never know. Maybe God has providentially put you in this place for a specific reason, so that you would be in a position to save your people, basically. And with that, Queen Esther requests that they hold a fast for 3 days, and she ends up appearing before the king, and then the story continues from there. What we want to focus on here in our devotion is this statement by Mordecai, where he says, "How do you know that you have not attained royalty for such a time as this?" And when we look in our lives, when we look at the places we live, we look at the places that we work, we look at the relationships that we have, the city we live in, the community we live in, we have to ask ourselves the same question. Has God put us where we are for a specific purpose, for a particular reason? Sometimes we find ourselves in places we would rather not be. Maybe in a job we'd rather not be at, or in a city that we prefer to not be at. But we have to look beyond just what our desires are and where we would like to be, and see, is God's hand at work here, trying to accomplish a purpose through us where we are at. And so no matter where you find yourself, whether you're in a small town or a big city, whether you are digging ditches or you're a lawyer or a doctor, whatever it is, all of us need to look at our place in life, where we are, and see how is it that we can fulfill God's purpose where we are today. And recognize the fact that He might have us in this exact spot for a specific purpose. But we got to open up our eyes, open up our ears to Him, and lift up our prayers to Him, asking Him to direct us and help us to know what that purpose is, and to be faithful to Him in fulfilling His purpose. So let's never underestimate where we are in life right now, and to be always looking around for opportunities to serve the Lord, to bring about His purpose, His plan here on the earth. Well, I thank you guys for listening in today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.